Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. I've advocated that I am spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. That means all human beings. Basic human rights for all bodies on earth. I advocate a moral standard as given to me. And I've spoken on many subjects. I think about the turmoil that the world is experiencing today. That which is so obvious because it's here at home, here in the United States of America. And the evidence of the challenges abroad are at our borders. They represent the failures of the other parts of the world. It represents the failures of those who perhaps have bad government, those who are so criminal in their activity, perhaps even those that have been victims of disasters such as fire and water and earthquakes and tornadoes and etc. But the inability for the world to be able to deal with these situations indicates that the world is on a path that perhaps is responsible for many of the problems that exist. And by not using their time lovingly to live, to prepare for any and all types of aggressions, we find ourselves in need, but without. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, as spokesman and advocate, I can't speak for one group of people, black people or men or Americans. What I speak is a general statement that is applicable to human beings everywhere. And so I would like for people to remember, if you will, that whatever you hear me talking about America and what's good for America, I'm saying the same thing for the Russians, for the Chinese, for the Africans, for the Asians, people everywhere. And the truth of the matter is, you are an expression, human beings are an expression of God. And they are to be treated like that. God has prepared that they might be treated like that. And the only thing that prevents them from being treated like that is evil. And the blinds that have been pulled over the people's eyes to deny them the reality that they are children of God and they live forever. You are not bound to live in this hell. Even if this hell wants to kill you, then that is the easiest way out. The God that made you haven't left you. The God that made you is still real. The devil doesn't want you to know that, because if he knew that you weren't afraid to die, then there would be no control over you. But as long as you're afraid to die, they keep it over your head and you bend your back to anything. Ask the Russians, ask the Germans, ask the natives. No, ask the blacks. I've watched some of the failures of the other nations' people at our borders. I've seen them from Central America, South America. I've seen them from various places. I even heard about caravans of Somalians, people from what they call shithole countries headed this way. I don't recall whether I really saw any, but I'm sure if they did, I did see them. But you didn't have all this chaos that I've seen so many places. I've seen the people on the southern border there put in cages, as far as the television reports give us. Cages, not to, I don't think, to punish them as a jail or something, but just to kind of house them, keep them together under some type of control. This despicable, but it is a result of not being prepared. I've seen some and heard some crazy things. But anyway, what is happening now that just blew my mind. I saw on television some Haitians coming in at the borders. And I saw men on horses with something like they were whipping and chasing these guys and women back as if they were cattle back into the waters or whatever. You couldn't see everything, but you saw enough to make you sick. And guess who were riding these horses? They were white men. And guess who they were whipping and beating back? They were black people. So all we know is since from the beginning of time, this crap has been going on, and it is going on today. This very day I'm speaking to you right now. And that is the fruition of evil since the beginning of our time to this time, trying to take us where. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to settle for where we come from. I'm not going to settle for what the Democrats are talking about. It's not good enough. The price has been paid, and it's time for God's people to stand up, and I call on God's people to stand up with me because I am standing up. I am fed up with this crap. Now, we know legally we don't stand a chance because legally we were given a position of being less than human. So I'm standing up for the ultimate law, the moral law. It is superior to America's law, to any law on the land, the moral law. The moral law is the righteous law. The moral law is the right to be free, to enjoy what this master has put here for you. The master prepared that you might exist here on this earth, that you will require food, you'll never be hungry. The master provided that would exist, that you'd never be homeless. The master provided that would exist. That all of the education as you learn and grow and time pass, it would be there available to you unlimited and unrestricted. The master provided that for you. The master provided that you would have health care for those of you who get sick because things are going to happen. But from the womb to the tomb, you would have the best care that is imaginable. The master provided that for you. And how is all this to happen? The master provided that every last one of you benefit from all of these things whenever you need them, want them, or desire them. And to make you eligible, the master gave you a desire, a position for a career, that having that career, exercising that career, gives you the greatest joy that too is imaginable. And exercising your gifts, you can't be paid for that as far as you know. But one thing, you never have to worry about any of those things that you need, want, or desire. And you live in peace, you're prosperous, you live in freedom, you got joy of life, and your dreams are being fulfilled. So, this is what the master designed for all of us here in America, all over the earth. And I'm asking all black people and people of color to consider what I've just shared with you. Think about it and see if you can find any of this inside of you. And if you can, then let us give life to the moral codes of life. Let us give heaven a representation by ourselves, demanding the best for ourselves, knowing that not just us, but just as we do for ourselves, so does everyone else deserve the best for themselves. And so we're going to stand up and give voice and give representation to change the system and create a new system, a system that does exactly what the moral law designed from the beginning. That we, by our power, our individual power, eradicate evil from our way of government and from our way of lives. I'm asking people of color and black people and those good white people. Now, I know there are very many good white people who just resent the things that's going on, especially by white people. And they'll stand up and give voice, some of them. Others won't give voice, but they feel it in their heart. But they just have to go along with it because they're white. But you don't have to go along with it. I invite you to join the moral group. I invite you to join what we call the straight and narrow. The straight and narrow is the one way that works for us all, and that is the way of love. I invite you to join with us in the way of love, and let us create a new system that represents the way of love. These guys were being whipped. I never saw that happen to any of the people from the southern borders, from South America, any of those places. I never seen, I'm not saying it didn't happen, because I heard somebody say on the media that they've been using horses all the time. Maybe they have. I just haven't seen that on the news. I haven't seen that. And I definitely haven't seen anybody being rounded up, except cattle and horses. And here they were, in the 21st century, people running from their country for all kinds of reasons, for refuge, looking for help. And the world is so crooked, evil is so abundant in our country, that rather than being able to help, I'm sure we got limited resources, and the way we are, we're not thinking about helping anybody, especially from shithole countries. And here they are, bringing that stink with them. And we, rather than giving them a bath, giving them something to brighten their day from this long struggle, we beat them and chased them. I remember something like that, I believe, in South Africa under apartheid. And there it was, right here on the borders of America, on the borders of those states that are trying to turn back that measure of moral law that they had pretended that they had, and take it back to when they were beating people like this. It was okay. Ladies and gentlemen, black people and people of color, think about that. We stand up and do the right thing. And I'm not talking about violence. There is no violence in love. There is no violence in love. We do the right thing. The enemy is going to come against us. I don't want you to think not 1 minute that this is going to be easy. The joy of it is that as the enemy come against you, there's something magical happens spiritually that I really can't get you to feel. But I know what I'm talking about because I've experienced it. There's something that comes inside of you that justifies it, makes it beautiful, makes it sweet. That's why I know when Jesus went on the cross, it was the greatest and most wonderful thing that Jesus could have ever done, outside of making the world change. And so what I'm letting you know is that we take it all the way. And in the Bible, they got a story that says that when Moses and those guys got to a point where they had the army behind them and a sea in front of them, they say God woke up and opened a path for them. So I say, once you get on the right path, you don't worry about if God. Now, I tell you, when you are not sure, you can follow people and you will see the benefit thereof. But when you're sure, baby, you already got it. All you got to do is be. Well, I think I might have made my point. I'm asking black people, people of color, and white people who really consider themselves good people to join on the moral way of life, the straight and narrow, the road of love, and let us change the system of America, and from there, change the system of the world. It will become clear of how to do it once you start expressing love. Love, do unto others as you'd have others do unto you, is a good guide. Okay? I'll talk to you. Goodbye.